Okay. So this will be, if you want to trim it or whatever, this is probably the place to trim it. Okay. Well, welcome back to the Worlds by Design podcast. I'm your host, GD Junkie, and today we have Andrea back with us. And we are going to continue with our podcast on new character creation. But today we're going to specifically be talking about ability creation in Flagstone. Now, bear in mind that we are still in the pre-alpha, kind of still building the game. Basically, we're in pre-alpha, so things are going to change. But right now, this is the structure that we're working with, and it's pretty well set, I think. So, Andrea, welcome back. How are you doing today? Excellent. I'm doing well. It's Sunday morning here, and yeah. So here we go. Okay, so you just a quick refresher. Let's see. You are making Daku a prepared wielder. Um, Crossbows, yeah, hunter, like yeah, ranged weapons. Space magic and telepathy, stealth, artifice. Oh man, you had okay, so you had a bunch of domains there. Um, okay, so the part of your character that basically tells you like what all of your stats are and that stuff is already done. Now we're looking at just the abilities, which is on that third tab. When you go to make abilities, there's a couple of things to be aware of over on the Flagstone website. If you go to general rules, actions and abilities, and then all the way down at the bottom, you've got ability crafting. And this layout will change eventually, but for now, that's where it's at. Uh-huh. Oh, sorry. General rules, actions and abilities. And then ability crafting. Down, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see it. You'll see ability crafting. Okay. So these are the rules for how to piece abilities together and what it costs and how you determine what they do and all of that, right? So it's a little bit intimidating when you first get into it, but it's really not that hard. So we're going to try to keep it simple. And I'm going to go through a very quick like overview of how the ability system works before we get started so that you're aware, right? Um, So all abilities are comprised of a couple of components. The first one is a methodology. The methodology tells you how you do something, right? Like whether you're firing a bow or whether you're slashing a target or bludgeoning a target or channeling mana or siphoning mana. These are the verbs in the system, essentially. But they tell what your character, or more specifically, how your character is doing what they're doing. Um, and then we have accents. So that's methodologies. And then we have accents. Accents are the part that specify different attributes in your ability. So to give you an example, we're going to go to this Headspace 2 document. And we're going to look at you had, let's see, one of your subdomains. You have crown chakra and you have space, artificing, and wheelcraft. So if we look over at the crown chakra, up at the top, you have space, which gives you these four methodologies: levitate, teleport, gravitate, and gate. And then it gives you four accents: orbit, reflect, refract, and void. Each methodology is going to have a rule in this column here that basically sets up how the ability is going to be phrased. So in this case, the source levitates up to a height determined by the rating for levitate, right? So the wielder, the person casting the spell, or the object casting the spell, is always the source. So most of the time, when you see source, that's going to refer to your character because you're the one casting the spell, right? It could be an object, right? Like for example, you could imbue a sword with a spell, and then if you activated it, the sword would actually be the source of the spell, right? Because that's where the spell is being cast from. What do we got here? Oh, stream. Is that all stream announcements? Yeah. Okay. Shoot, lost my screens. Okay, so for accents, if we look at one of these where it says maybe teleport here, it says the source teleport. Whoops, too much. Too much. There we go. It's not that you be able to read it. Source teleports target actors to a known target location within range. So in this case, the part in bracket where it says target actors or objects or target location, these are parameters that can be changed in your ability, right? So these can be replaced with accents. Accents come in two flavors, either object or effect. What's the question? I can see it. I can see it. What? No, they're not the same chart at all. They're not the same thing. What are you talking about? What page are you looking at? Let's start there. Oh, that's because you're going to have more than one ability. Well, yeah. I mean, you don't want to be a one-trick pony, do you? Yeah, so you're going to have more than one ability, right? And each ability has its own stat block for it with its own information. And just for to give people who maybe have some experience with Dungeons and Dragons more than Flagstone, because it's always good to give people a something that they can reference. Let's go. That's not the one I wanted. D&D Beyond. That's what I wanted right here. I'm not a huge fan of their D&D Beyond, but whatever. And why did they change the layout on here? Okay, characters. There we go. If we look at tools, sources, game rules. Okay, so for spells, I just want to pull up one of their spell lists. So we're going to look at, like, say, enchantment. Maybe we'll look at enchantment. Yeah, there we go. When you look at one of their spells, this is a spell from D&D, right? So here you've got, like, the name, how long it takes to cast, how long it lasts, who the target is, what the attacks and saves are, what the effect is, all that information. You'll have a description of it, and this will give you the rules and the details, right? In Flagstone, it's much the same. In here, you're going to have the name. You're going to have the rating, which is going to tell you all the information about how much damage the spell does or how long it lasts. All of that information will come from the rating. You have the base action, which is the root methodology that you're using. So that's going to be either strike or wield or move or defend or something like that. It's one of the base keywords in the game. And the reason you put that there is because there's certain actions that you can only do at certain times or that you may not be able to do in certain circumstances. So that determines whether or not you can use this ability at a given time, right? The target type is what kind or what, it could be self, target enemy, target ally, location, area, etc., right? So this determines how the thing targets. here, this is just where you're going to put your keywords that you're using, and that's important for calculating the cost and for keeping track of what you're doing. This will be the description text, and then down here we just have the cost stuff, so you know how much your spells cost, right? So when you go to cast them, you know if it's going to cost you mana or if it's going to cost you stamina and how much and all of that. So that information will be down here in this block, right? So this set right here, that is one ability. Okay, so are you with me so far? Okay, so where are you looking at? Which page? Ah, okay, hold on. Where do you see it at? Like where at? I'm trying to find it so I can explain to you. Okay, I got you. Because you can put more than one methodology in. Well, because you like I said, I do not know as the designer, I don't know what you're gonna do, right? So when you look at the way this system works, and I'll give you an example here. Under the throat chakra, there is a keyword in here called invest, right? It's this guy right here. What invest does is it allows you to invest mana or into a physical action, right? To give it a magical effect, right? So in this case, invest is a methodology. So that's methodology one, right? And then it requires a methodology as an input, right? So that might be shoot because you're the archer, right? So that's two methodologies. And then when you go over to shoot and you look at it up here, so this is the rule for shoot, right? And you've got a target there as well. And this should actually be a parameter here as well, because you get to pick which arrows you're using. So the reason it says etc. is because I don't know the structure of the ability that the player is going to create in advance. So this is just like, yeah, exactly. I don't read minds. That's a good way to put it. Back to ability. So if we step through this, the first thing you have to determine is, or this is, I actually should put this last, I suppose. This is how much it's going to cost in resources to create the ability that you're trying to create. Now, in the beginning for character creation, you don't have to pay any creation costs for your abilities, right? So for today, we don't have to worry about that too much. But once you're in game and you're playing, if you wanted to create a new ability, it would cost you a number of E-rated dream seeds equal to the total number of keywords, accents, methodologies in the ability, including bonuses. So normally it's not going to be that high, but it could escalate pretty quickly if you do try to do something complicated. Under creation costs, under ability creation, the first bullet point says creation cost. Nope, above that. You don't see creation cost right here? Casting cost is how much it costs to cast the spell whenever you're doing it in combat. So that's how much mana and how much stamina or how much fade that it costs you. The attribute rating, that is, if you look at your character sheet, that is your attribute rating. So it's either going to be health, stamina, mana, fade, or breath on the right hand side there. Those that 3-digit rating. Get back to the right page. Let me drag this down here so I don't have to keep hunting for it. and your casting cost gets much more expensive with each methodology and a little bit more expensive with each accent. So that's the way to think about that easily. Breath cost. Every ability consumes breath, right? Whether it's a spell or a melee attack, it doesn't matter. Everything consumes breath. And this is the more than anything in the game, the breath controls how much you can do in combat. Right now, yeah. So you want to have that cost as low as you can get it generally. Otherwise, you're going to run out of breath, and then what happens is you have to take an entire turn and spend 5 stamina to catch your breath, right? And then you catch your breath, and then you can go back into the fight. But that one round that you can't do anything while you're catching your breath is dangerous for your character, right? Because somebody can come up and smack you or whatever. The units. This refers back to, I'll show you the other page, the rating system. Under the rating things page, and all the way down at the bottom, there's a table called units. And basically what this means is that the system assumes that by default, at the lowest rank, that any spell, like if you do an area of effect, it's going to cover a number of tiles. Or it's going to last a number of rounds. Or if it's a volume, it'll be in liquids. Or if it's in weight, it'll be in kilos. But as you increase that system units, the unit type gets larger, right? So by the time you get to say C ranked, you're doing the number of times 5. Your time units are in hours. Your volume is in tiles cubed, and your mass is in hundreds of kilograms. What this means, essentially, when you think about it, is like if you do a spell that says create water, and that spell is E ranked, then it's going to create 1 liter or 1d4 plus 1 liters of water, so up to 5 liters of water, right? But
Hey, Andrea, I think I lost you on the stream. You need to reconnect. Let's see. What'd you do?
Can
you hear me?
Let's see. Did it put you back in the stream? Yeah. Okay, we can see. Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry about that, guys. We Andrea just decided, to hell with this. I can't. Okay. What was the last thing you heard? I don't want to miss the instructions for you in particular. Like, I don't remember. Units tell you how big, how far, how much, how long, right? And it scales up, right? So that's your scale to go from rounds, which are measured in seconds, 6 seconds per round. So rounds to minutes to hours to days to weeks to months, right? So as you increase the unit value, your spells will last longer or create more, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, get back. The range, no, most of this other stuff is pretty much, yeah, you're doing a prepared wielder, so everything under the spontaneous cost reduction doesn't apply. The only other part that really is going to make a big difference for you is the well, let's see, there's the CR, which is what someone's going to have to, or what bonus, if any, that the defender has against your spell. So like if or or what bonuses you have to overcome the defender's abilities whenever you roll. So your CR is your challenge roll. So when you go to cast a spell or use an ability or something like that, you're going to have to roll a CR, and then you're going to have bonuses to that roll or penalties to that roll, depending. But what do you mean? Yes, roll always wherever you're playing. You could be playing at your kitchen table. The games are this is a tabletop RPG. It's designed to be played on your table, right? With a like we used to play this with like games like this. We would play with a pencil and a notebook and a bunch of dice and a bunch of geeks sitting around our table with Mountain Dew and everything else for hours and hours on end, just playing at home. Like now we've moved in the 2023 2021 really um, to playing a lot on Discord, right? And so if you're going to play in Discord, then you're going to roll your dice in Discord. If you're playing in a virtual tabletop, you would roll it there. So really, it depends on where you're playing the game. Um, so that would be the question to ask the person running the game, so the GM at the time. Uh, for us right now, if you wanted to roll something, yeah, you just roll it in Discord. That'd be fine. Um, sometimes I forget that how many people probably have not played tabletop RPGs. It's yeah, I guess for me it's like I've been playing tabletop games since I was like 10, right? Like very, very, very young, right? And tabletop RPGs, I started with D&D like way on back. Um, and it's always been a part of my life, right? So I forget like that just because it's common to me does not mean it's common to others. So a lot of the stuff, I apologize if I take some of it for granted. Like whenever I'm reading through this, I guess based on my own playtime, to me the stuff is obvious. Like but that doesn't mean it is for everybody. I have to be more mindful of that. Well, look, if you've played a role playing game in a video game, right? Everything applies. Everything is the same. The only difference is in the video game you have a random number generator that takes the place of the dice. That's the only difference, really, or the biggest difference, I should say. That all the calculations are being handled by the computer, and so the interface is different. But in the background, what's happening behind the scenes is the same, which is why we're able to do Getty Legacy based on Flagstone. That's why that actually works, right? So now there's some things that change between them. Like for example, on a tabletop role playing game, you'll tend to have fewer monster encounters per play session, right? So when you sit down and play with your group, because everything takes longer on tabletop, you might only get through 3 or 4 fights or something in a single, or 3 and 4 encounters in a single play session, right? Whereas on a video game, in that same 3 or 4 hours, you probably killed half the damn city, right? Just you know what I mean? It's like 3 or 4 hours in a video game is a long time. And that creates problems like the number of resources coming into and out of the game are different, right? So like in the tabletop, we have the dream seeds and fade seeds that control character progression, right? In the digital game, there's going to be a lot more of them flooding into the game environment because people can kill the creatures faster, right? So there'll be more of them coming in. And so the economy will be a little bit different, but the core rules won't change very much at all. It'll mainly be things like that apply to time, like the numbers. The numbers will change, but that is actually the precise reason that we have the rating system. this rating system here, right? It's a layer of abstraction between the game and the numbers. So the game doesn't have to care about the numbers. It just cares about the rating. So when we put this in the digital game, the game will still just care about the rating, and all the numbers will be assigned behind the scenes, right? So that we can adjust the numbers without having to adjust all the other mechanics. And that's the reason it's set up like this. So yeah, so in your rating system here, this is where you're finding out which dice you're rolling, right? Based on the letter. So okay. Back to ability crafting. Your challenge roll. Challenge rolls are covered under conflict resolution, right? On the website. General rules, conflict resolution. Yeah, general rules, conflict resolution. And so you have two types of conflict, right? It's either opposed or unopposed. Either something is resisting me or it's just what it is. For example, if you try to come hit me, I'm going to try to get the hell out the way, right? So that's going to be an opposed action because you're trying to do something and I'm trying to stop you from doing it or trying to get away from it or what have you. Now, you might try to go punch a wall, which I don't recommend, and the wall is just going to stand there, right? So it's it's not going to oppose you in the same way. It's not going to try to avoid your hit. It's not going to change its property to be more defensive. It's not going to react to you in any way. It still might break your hand though. So anyway, so opposed and unopposed actions. Combat falls into the opposed action stuff, and that's explained in more detail there. We're back to the ability system. Excuse me. I forgot I changed pages there. Okay. So the base action that refers to if you look at the basic actions and abilities page, there'll be a table there with this list of keywords that are strike, defend, dodge, flee, wield, fade, move, socialize, and utilize, right? These are methodologies. Every one of these is a methodologies. All characters have access to each of these keywords by default at the beginning of the game for free, right? These are the base keywords for all the action system. So when you try to slash somebody or shoot somebody, you're overriding strike, right? And the ability is going to cost stamina. If you're blocking an attack, it's going to cost health. Dodge costs breath, flee, wield cost mana, fade obviously costs fade. Movement, why is that so good? That's weird. That should be breath. I have to fix that. Socialize takes stamina. Utilize depends on what it is that you're doing, right? Because utilize is to use a tool to do something that's like not combat related. So that's all of your crafting and all of that stuff. Let me zoom back out and go back to our ability crafting. So when you use a keyword like shoot, you'll see in that table it says it replaces strike. That's telling you what keyword that it overrides. So shoot overrides strike. That means it's going to cost stamina. And the source attempts to strike the target with a fire projectile, causing effects based on the projectile type. So that's in your ability creator. We're just going to go ahead and copy this real quick. And we're going to come over to your ability sheet. Let's just for giggles, we're going to make an attack. So the base, we're going to do, what keywords do you got? Do you have? Air Arcana, range combat. Okay, we'll do something. We can delete this and we'll do something with like Air Arcana and range combat. And we'll just call this Wind Arrow or Wind Shot. How is that? Wind Shot. Your base rating for it is EE because all newly researched spells come in as E rated. The base action is going to be Strike because Shoot overrides Strike. The method is going to be Shoot. That's your first one, right? Keyword Shoot replaces Strike. And then we want to, that's by default is target, it's just target actor. That doesn't cost you anything for that one. Now we want it to do something cool. What can we do with it that's kind of cool? You could use aim. No. We could use Air Arcana. Yeah. Maybe that's what we can do. We can use I'm getting like interested here because now there's actually some weird stuff we can do. I just need to see space, artificing, and wieldcraft, sight, telepathy, and stealth. Psychic override, telekinesis, sight, and stealth. Oh, hey, well, we could do it. We could do it with cheap shot. That would actually be better, I think, in this case. So we do cheap shot and shoot. And the one for cheap shot, yeah. The one for cheap shot, though, is that the source attempts to strike target while undetected, doubling the impact, right? So that's the bit that we want, right? That's the bit that we want. So because we've already got the source and target established there, we don't really need the extra source and target information. So we can say source attempts to strike target with a fire projectile while undetected, right? So that puts another condition in there, causing additional effects based on projectile type. Okay. So what happens now when you think about this is, so now it's saying that when you use this ability, you as the source are going to attempt to strike, in this case, shoot the target with a projectile. So that's using your bow. The projectile would be what type of arrow are you using? Because you might be using a magical arrow, you might be using a bludgeoning arrow, you might be using a piercing arrow. There's all sorts of types of arrows, right? You could straight up summon an arrow and into your bow and just fire magically summoned arrows. I mean, it's a thing that we could make this happen. In fact, I think Ivan's character yesterday was about that far from being able to do that. So the projectile type is determined by the arrow, but now here's the part. It says while undetected, right? So because it says while undetected, that puts a limitation on you, right? That means that you have to be undetected to use this ability, meaning you have to be stealthed or something like that. So this is like assassinating somebody. You hide, you get out of sight, and then you use this ability while undetected, and it doubles your impact, which is your damage. Right? So as long as you're doing this as a sneak attack, it doubles your damage. And then if you have additional, you'll have additional effects based on your projectile type, so the type of arrow, and those would apply. So it's a great way to sneak attack somebody. Now, if we look at this, we're only really using two keywords here. We're using cheap shot and shoot, right? And then, so if we look at the ability creation page here, the casting cost, right, is the methodology cost times potency, and the methodologies are 3 per. Each methodology costs 3. Each accent increases the cost by 3. So cost is methodology cost, in this case 3 plus 3 is 6, times the potency, which is E, so that's 1. So the cost is 6 stamina. You don't have any additional accents, right? So that doesn't cost you anything. And then you have an E-rated efficiency, I think, for that. Do you have anything else that modifies? Let's go back to your table here. So your cost right now is 6 stamina, and the breath cost is the base 5 plus 3 for methodology plus another 2, so 5, 11, 13 minus whatever your efficiency is. So it'll be 13 minus whatever, and we'll come back and update that in a second. If we look at your, do you have anything for range efficiency? CR, health, you have breathing potency, wielding efficiency. Nope, you have increased range and increases to your called shots. That's another thing. You could stack that ability with called shot and get extra work out of it, right? So called shots, anyone can do a called shot. But if you do, it increases the difficulty to hit, but it adds some additional effect. What you don't have right now is much efficiency. You also don't have your weapon listed here. Rank E. Image types, ammo, depends on that. Base is going to be you've got bonuses to range, potency. Crossbow, that's no range. Okay, so you get range on that. Yeah. So that's not too terrible. That's not too terrible. It's a bit of an expensive shot for you, right? But it's pretty good damage on it. We can also look down at the bottom of the ability crafting thing, and there's this prepared cost reduction, right? What these do is they allow you to add some additional requirements to the ability in order to lower the cost, right? To make it cheaper for you to cast. So in this case, you could add a somatic component. No, you can't use that one because your hands are full. Verbal components you could do, although that would increase the potency. Material components doesn't really work for that, but you could do a verbal component and get an extra potency bump out of it, which might not be worth it, but depending on the situation. Either way, that ability is actually finished. Target type is target enemy. Yeah, single enemy target. There's no cost reduction that's particularly beneficial to you in this case. And it's pretty straightforward. That's it. It's not hard. That's what I keep trying to get people. It's not hard. Like there's a lot of data to wrap your mind around, and you get caught in like choice paralysis and stuff. But the way the system actually works is not difficult. It just takes a minute to wrap your head around. Yeah, it would be. It would be. It would absolutely be way easier to describe on a website with better tables and interactive diagrams and pictures. You're right. I've been waiting. Okay, to be fair, and Majid, if you're listening, I'm waiting. Right, like let's get this done. No, so we just transferred to a new web server not too long back, and Flagstone has been working with or been hosted on World Anvil for quite some time, but World Anvil has some pretty painful limitations in how you can do things, including things. Mainly, it's like we don't have direct HTML access to World Anvil right now, right? So we can't just go in and do whatever we want on the page, which makes it really difficult for something like this, where you have to present information in some very particular ways, right? Like tabbed tables, scroll bars, drop down menus, pre-fills. Like having a character sheet where the player can just click a drop down and do what they want to do would be great. But at the same time, for players who play on the tabletop, like they may or may not be using a digital character sheet. They might be doing it with pencil and paper. Um, Yeah, I've done it. It works, man. I used to have loads of notebooks full of characters and stuff like that back in the day. Um, so you're right. We're working towards that goal, but I am waiting on our web developer, Majid. I don't know, Majid. Majid, how much time do you need? Mm, yeah. Uh, you know, this project has definitely been. See, I thought kids had taught me patience, right? Like, because me and wife, we have a big family. I thought having kids had taught me patience. This project has taught me patience. Not, and I'm not. That's not like one of my strongest qualities, But I'm having to learn. Um, okay. So why don't we try just for giggles here, like for you to create an ability for you, because you got one more ability here to create for your character. This gives you a nice little way to assassinate people from hiding. And I don't think you have any other bonuses going on there. This rank, well, that would go up too. Yeah. So yeah, the only thing would be here is on the rank of this ability. I'm gonna put this here. It's gonna be PC. That's the modified. The ECE is the modified rating because you're getting +2 from your flagstone, right? But the spell itself, the ability itself, is still an EEE template until you upgrade it. Um, All right, so we're gonna try doing another one. What kind of ability would you like to make? You can look at your keywords or your chakras that you have unlocked, right? Yeah, look at the main character info on that tab, and you have those nine. You have 9 subdomains unlocked, so you actually have a lot of playroom there. Uh, Pick one and say, I want to do something with this one. Huh? That were range combat, air arcana, woodworking, sight, telepathy, stealth, space. Just pick one. Telepathy. Okay, fine. Telepathy. So we look at the Headspace 2 document. Um, and eventually, yes, all of this will eventually be on the website. And so we won't have to be bouncing back and forth, and that'll make it easier. So for telepathy, you have, for methodologies, you have mental bond, which Source creates a temporary mental bond with the target. Telekinesis, which allows you to move objects mentally. Telepathy, nope, that has to be with a bonded target. That's an effect accent. Mental barrier, which allows you to have like mental shields. And mental manipulation allows you to manipulate the thoughts and memories of the mentally bonded target. That should actually be an accent, not a methodology. No, we'll do it like this. Make that right. We'll just make those all methodologies because they all make more sense as methodologies. Okay, there's that, and add, yeah, up there. Okay, yeah. So you have plenty. Which one of those were you wanting to do? Hmm. It's on the third eye, Headspace 2, third eye chakra. Telepathy is the subdomain. Um, mhm. Third eye, telepathy. Like, so you have these keywords, right? You have mental bond, telekinesis, telepathy, mental barrier, psychic override, and mental manipulation. What? Okay, I said the third eye is the chakra, right? And then you have 3 subdomains unlocked for the third eye. You've got sight, telepathy, and stealth. And you said you wanted to do something with telepathy. That is a subdomain, right? And then there's keywords within that subdomain, right, that you can use to do stuff. The keywords are mental bond, telekinesis, telepathy, mental barrier, psychic override, and mental manipulation. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, like everything in that category is mental, like legitimately everything. So, So, okay, so for mental manipulation, it says the rule is source manipulates the thoughts and memories of the mentally bonded target. Now, mental bond is another keyword there. So, if we want to do that, then that means that the action you need to mentally bond with the target, and then you can manipulate their memory, right? So, it's a two step process. So, on your sheet, on your character sheet, under the abilities, the first method, well, the base action, that's wield, right? The mental bond has to be the first one because that's required. And then the mental manipulation would be the second one, right? Now, alternatively, you could do the mental bond and then do mental manipulation as a separate ability, right? Um, the good thing there would be that you can create separate abilities for mental manipulation, for telepathy, for this, for that, and the other without doubling up on mental bond every time you use it. So it would save you resources in the long run. But for now, we're just going to do it as one, just for illustration purposes. Okay, so you have mental manipulation there as the accent. The descriptions, right? You would pull them straight off that doc. It's copy. Now, one thing, methodologies happen in sequence. So you can imagine like that's the first methodology, and then we just add the word then, right? And the next one is going to be this source manipulates target. Like this. So that would be the new rule for that ability, right? And we would go through, and if you wanted to change the abilities or add effects, we can, right? So see what good accents you have available. Oh my god, stop. Not you, it's the freaking spreadsheet that, like, when you go to mouse scroll around, it wants to drag the cell around the screen with you, and it fucks your spreadsheets all up. So annoying. That wasn't your fault. That was on me. But now see, you have. Here's an interesting one. Do you have sight magic? Yes, you do have sight magic. That's awesome. It really is. Well, so here's one thing you could do. You could do locate and identify, right? As accents, because they're both effect accents. So would just to add the to locate, and this is keywords, locate and identify the target. So this is actually a little bit more interesting, because in this case, if the way that, well, you wouldn't really need mental manipulation, so we can actually make this cheaper. No, we need to leave it like that. Basically, in this case, what you'd be doing is you'd be making a mental bond with the target, and then manipulating them into revealing their identity and location. Yeah. So detection in Flagstone is a bit weird, right? Because we assume that every person has by default the basic 5 senses, and then that that there's things happening out there that you just can't detect, or maybe there's other ways to detect them. So scrying is a thing, locating people mentally is a thing, trying to detect their aura is a thing. There's lots of ways to try to detect and identify something. But if you're a sniper, which you're kind of set up like a sniper, right? So if you're a sniper and you can detect a target and know their location and know that that's the target you're looking for, you're an assassin. Does not surprise me. Does not surprise me at all. Um, okay, so the cost on that though. So you have the two, and then you had the two accents. So you had locate and identify. Um, so that's going to be 6 plus another 6. No, 12. 12 plus 6, so 18. 18 mana? Or 8? Yes, mana. 18 mana, and then the breath is going to be. But on this one, we can actually do some of the reduction, so we'll come back and do reduction in a second. Breath is 5 plus 3 per methodology. So 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 2 per potency, which right now is 2, so 13 minus your efficiency. So we'll do 13, we'll figure out the efficiency. 13 at least minus 1. Do you have any other efficiency bonuses there? You've got wielding efficiency 2. Yep. Got plus 2 to your wielding efficiency. So the rating for this is E, then E, E, C, actually. So you're going to get 3 off of that, which make that down to 15, and you'll get the 3 off, 2 more off of that, bring it down to 10. So right now the breath cost, the mana cost for that's 15, breath cost is 10. And target type would be, until you change it, would be single enemy, single, yeah. Actually, it doesn't have to be, yeah, single target. I would almost say, like, later on, you might incorporate scry into that as well. It would make the cost go up, but then it changes the rules so that, like, it makes it so that in that same spell, you seek the target, like kind of locate them, sort of, and then you connect with them and get a more specific location. If you're, it could be fun. And that's it. Now for cost reduction here. Well, let me see something here. We may have been. Oh, okay, we're good. For cost reduction, you've got for prepared wielders, and on this one you can actually use all 3. There's nothing stopping you from using all 3, right? So if you add a semantic component, a verbal component, and a material component for doing this, you can lower the breath cost by 1 per potency, so that drop your breath cost another point. You could increase the potency by 1, and with the 2 of them combined, you would wind up at a 0 sum, right? So it wouldn't cost you anything. And then you can reduce this one is really, really good. Reduce the methodology cost by 1 per methodology. So in this case, you have 2 methodologies on there, so that would drop the cost by a total of 4 points. So it's quite a savings. Somatic, verbal, and material. So we'll just do all 3. Somatic, verbal, material. Right? And then, so one of those is going to increase your potency by 1. So that's going to become D. E lowers the breath cost by 1 per potency. Okay, so that's going to lower it by 2. This one increases potency by 1, so your breath cost goes down 8 on that. And material reduces the methodology cost by, so that's going to be 2 points per. So 4 plus 6 is 10. That drops your mana cost down to 11. And yeah, so now your final spell is 11 mana, 8 breath, which is not bad. And whenever you get, it's decent, right? Call this call it scout. And that would be it. Your character is done. Except for the only thing you got left now is if you wanted to spend these few extra points to do things, like to buy more points in health pools, or to I think that's a great idea. Are you kidding? Now the other thing you could do, you do have you have 4 E-ranked Fade Seeds left. You could take one of those and purchase a rank of Ego, which would actually give you two more Ego bonuses. So that could help you out some. And I'm going to let you take these and you go do those and like fill them out and try to have a play with them. Right? This is not very much there. You've got 4 E-ranked Fade Seeds and then 2C, 2D, and 10E. But you can afford 1 rank here, which would get you 2 bonuses at +1, right, under Ego. And to give you an idea there, let's look under your Flagstone bonuses for Ego. Ones that could be very, very useful. Impulsive, that's bonuses. Oh, no, you're not spontaneous. Never mind. Breath efficiency. Holy shit, that would help you. That lowers your breath cost, right? It also increases your breath. When you go to catch your breath, it increases how much you get back. Perceptive actually would bump up the chance that your identify and detect there would work, but that probably needs to be rewritten a little bit. Your visionary would give you bonuses to any action with your third eye chakra. It would make your CR roll better. Yeah, this is good stuff here. Let's see. Divination, Nightmare, Evocation, Conjuring. No. Yeah, I don't think you took any of those. So that would probably be like the best thing you could pick up out of there at the moment is the third eye bump. That would give you, and if you wanted to pick up another one, you could also pick up your the weapon type for bows, and that increases your weapon's rank by 1 for each bonus to your Flagstone, and that goes into your how well your character hits and how much damage you do and stuff like that. So, because if you look over the conflict resolution stuff, under this is avoid this one here is for your attack roll. So prepared wielders add their CR they add their loadout rank, their weapon rank, and their rating potency plus bonuses. That's what they roll when they go to attack. So if you increase your weapon rank, that adds to your attack roll directly. It also adds your weapon rank adds as an efficiency bonus to your damage die, right? So it increases your damage as well. What it doesn't do is it doesn't make your stuff cheaper, right? So it doesn't act like an efficiency bonus when you're determining cost or anything like that. So it's a it would get you an extra +1 to hit, +1 damage, more or less. So nothing wrong with that. And that would only cost you 1 E-ranked Fade Seed. Beyond that, I think I would probably convert the remaining Fade Seeds. So you'd have 3 E-rated Fade Seeds left. I would convert all of those into D-rated Dream Seeds, which would give you 15 D-rated Dream Seeds, which could then be used for your getting your attributes up some more, your attribute ratings. I think that's the route I would go. So your attribute ratings actually add to your defenses too, by the way. They don't just increase your pools, they add to your defenses and they also add to your rolls. Okay, so yeah, okay, so we'll do the one, and then you pick your bonuses there later. So you have 2 bonuses there, and then we set that to 0, set that to 17. That's the total number you got at the moment. Let me update this. And I did spend 1 there. Okay. Okay, so which ones do you want to beef up first? So you're routinely, right, the way you're currently built, routinely you're going to be using stamina, mana, breath like every turn. Your health, I mean, obviously the more you get hit, but you're a ranged attacker, so maybe you can get away with having a little bit less health because you can stay out of combat. You know what I mean? I would probably take a couple in stamina and so that's to do one in stamina. It's going to cost you 1 D rated and 2 E rated. I'm sorry, 2 D rated, 2 E rated. So if you did that like twice, right, then you would roll 2d4 plus 1 twice and add that to your stamina pool, and it would cost you 4 E-rated dream excuse me 2 E-rated dream seeds, and 2 D-rated dream seeds, and then roll your die. 2d4 plus 1 and do it twice. And I need to step away for 1 second. I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. You're supposed to see in the disc. You were trying to do the roll. There you go. 7 for the first and 8 for the 8 for the second. So a total of 15. That's going to get added to your stamina, right? So that would go up to 54. Here, stamina. I was just keeping track of your dream seeds and fade seeds earlier. I don't know why you. That's 54. 54, 54. That 54, 54. It's a current value, max value. Current value, max value, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if you wanted to add more, like, so you could do you could do these until you ran out of dream seeds, basically. Pick another attribute and roll. Figure out which one you want to add to. Like, or is this gonna snowball into one of those where I end up doing it myself? So I might as well just shut up and do it myself. I slash. Well, the notation. I'm not, and no, I'm not mad. By the way, frustrated a little bit, sure, but I'm not mad. 2d4 plus 2. Oh, there you go. See, got it. Ah, okay. So you're going to roll whatever the rating is for the attribute that you're trying to increase, right? Like, so if you want to increase health, then it's going to be EDD, so that's 1d6 plus 2. If you're going to do stamina, it's DEE, so that's okay. Technically, that is 1d4 or 2d4 plus 1, but in Discord, it can't handle that notation, so we have to do the math on the last number for it, right? That's the reason that the numbers are different on Discord, is because here I'll put it in the chat or on this chat, I guess. Our formula runs a little bit. Whoa, that's too big. Our formula runs 2d4 plus 1 is ours. Whereas what most people like D&D and stuff, typically what they do is whoops, shit. Oh, sorry. Here. There's a difference in the way the formulas are written mathematically, right? This is ours. This is D&D's. This one here is what Discord is looking for, right? Because that's Avery or Dice Witch. That's not. It's set up for D&D. It's not set up for Flagstone. So what that means for us is that we have to do the math on this last number ourselves in order to get it work with Discord. So like if you did mana or stamina right here, where it's 2d4, you have to say, okay, well that +1 is going to happen twice. So 2d4 plus 2, because that's just a math problem with Discord, the Discord bot. Hey, if anybody out there ever wants to write a Discord bot for the Flagstone dice system, hit me up. We'll talk. But anyway, that's legitimately, that's all you've got left to do for your character now, is to step through and just spend those last few points. I was telling you earlier today that based on our last playthrough and a couple of the play tests that I've done with the other people, we are, after today, this will be the last time we see the Dream Seeds, Fade Seeds at character creation, because those seem to add a lot of complexity to it that people are just feeling a bit overwhelmed. So they're still going to be in the system. They're still in the game. They're just not being given to the player at character creation by default. Now, what that will mean is that GMs will be able to give players a certain number of Fade Seeds or Dream Seeds or however, in order to set the starting difficulty for their campaign that they're trying to achieve, right? So if you want your characters to start a little higher, maybe you give them a C-rated Fade Seed. If you want them to start really high, maybe you give them like one S-rated Fade Seed or something like that, right? So you just figure out how far along you want your characters to be. The GM will say, okay, well, that's what you have to start with, and then the players can spend it how they want. But for the base character creator, from now on, we're going to be taking base values for everything. And then, so a lot of this extra Dream Seed problem will go away. So we won't see this again. For your character, I would say probably pump more points into stamina and mana than you do into breath. For the simple reason that breath recovers in between fights, but mana and stamina does not unless you take a rest, right? So you can think of it like breath has to last you for the fight, stamina and mana has to last you for the whole day, right? So distribute accordingly. And if you have a lot extra, you may just decide to put them into health. That would be fine too. Get your hit points up there. Okay, so all that happens here is so which one are you looking at? Mana? Okay, so for mana, you look at the rating, you look at the attribute rating. The attribute rating is DDE. Okay? Yeah, so that means that it's going to, hold on, no, I don't know where that's coming from. Yeah, 4D, 2E40. Yeah, that's how many seeds it would cost. Yeah. Yep. Just so. So that's how much it would cost you, and then you would roll for mana, it would be 2d6 plus 2 in Discord, but 2d6 plus 2. Yeah, that's correct. Yep. So it would add 6 mana to your mana pool. I mean, it's good. It was a bad roll, but yeah, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. Mana, you said? Here. You increase those numbers by 6. No, I'm not even sure what the hell you just did. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, it didn't update on mine. Okay, so yeah, that's correct. And then you would take away the Dream Seeds from your pool. So you spent 2E and 4D to do that. So yeah, you take them away up here. You reduce them because this is Well, you spent 4 D ranked, and you spent 2 E ranked. So you do the math. Yep. 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 Now and then this one would go down by 2. Yep. Okay. Yep. So looks like you got maybe probably squeeze 3 more upgrades out of that. If you tried like do one of them as maybe do one as one of stamina and 2 of pretty much anything else. I think you could probably afford that. Yeah, you still have to roll for it. And you got to roll. You'd roll 2d4 plus 1. You roll. This is always what you roll. You always roll the rating. I don't know why that was just something we used to keep track of how much it cost. Yep. Two 2d, yeah, 2d4 plus 2. So you would add 12. Well, no. That was not right. That was wrong. Yeah, it's like, what? I don't know what you typed, but try again. No, you got your D and your 2 transposed there. You did D24 plus 2. Right, so add 7. Yep, it's good. You add 7 here, yeah. And then you would subtract your cost from up here. The seed cost. Minus, yeah, minus 2 and minus 2. Minus 2 from D, minus 2 from E. I'm not, yeah, I guess, yeah. 0, yeah. And then if you wanted to keep going, you would just convert 1 of those to 10 of those, and now you've got more to go. Why? In fact, let's convert those down to those. Get cracking. You got a lot of dice to roll, kiddo. Because you had those 2 C-rated ones lurking over there. She's like, I don't want to do math. Don't make, you're so mean. Don't make me do math. Oh my God. They convert down. Like, look. Okay. Let me point you back to the rules on the general rules core seeds of creation page, right hand side in the sidebar, conversions, and that is the answer to your question. Yep. Absolutely. So it's there. It's you're on the seeds of creation page, right? Look on the right hand side. Look on the right hand side where it says conversions and upgrading things, right? Conversions and upgrading things. And actually, I see something there I need to correct real quick. So let me do that. This needs to go away. This needs to be. What were you looking at? Oh. I sorry, I was just making a correction to something I saw there. So when if you look down, where's that? Yeah, on the upgrading things, right? So when you upgrade something, right? Each letter is a rank. 3 letters together are a rating. So 3 ranks or make a rating together, right? When you upgrade a rank, which means to roll 1 letter from say D to C, you're going to pay a number of dream seeds equal to the rank that you're upgrading it to, right? Of that type. So if you're going from C to B, right? B is 4. So you're going to pay 4 dream seeds of rank B in order to make that increase, or 4 fade seeds, whichever, right? But either way, you're going to do 4 rank B, or 5 rank A, or 6 rank S to get the pool upgrade, right? So, yeah. So what you're doing when you're upgrading and when you're rolling for your pools, there's another one. There's an go to attributes and pools. So that's a whole page. And if you look down, yeah, to increase the size of a pool, pay dream seeds of equal number and rank as the pool's rating. Then roll the rating and add it to your pool. So basically, and there's even a little breakdown explanation there. For example, Bob has a hit point pool of 15 and a rating of DDD. He could pay 6 D ranked. Yeah, there's a whole explanation there. So that's how you would calculate it. In this case, you're like, let's say you were going to do your health again, right? You would pay 1 E rated and 2 D rated for each D. So that's 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 4. So you'd have 1 E rated and 4 D rated, which is what we've got written over here on the side, right? Same. You would roll the EDB on this one. You would roll on this one. You would roll 1d6 plus 4. One moment. Nope, you forgot the roll. /roll 1d6 plus 4. Yep, that's good. So then you would add 6 to your health pool, right? I I kind of feel like something didn't get paid for on your character at some point, but that's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Um, you haven't spent any points in it because you don't do anything with it yet. Anyway, I was actually going to say earlier, like, um, we can come back at a point whenever we're off stream, and I can redo this with the using the newer version with where we just take everything at base. But I don't want to tie you up with that right now. So I mean, you can keep fooling with those if you'd like, or you can leave them be. We'll update your character sheet on that a little, or redo the character sheet very quickly here in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, like essentially that is your character right now. Everything else at this point is just going to be hit points and stamina, mana, fade, breath, that kind of stuff. Now, what we notice, and let me see, I'll going to show this is character. No, not today. Yeah, but yeah, next Sunday. So what the reason we'll redo this together real quick, a little bit later on, off stream, just to set it as a baseline, like this character, right? Like, so this character here is built with the new version. Can you see my screen? You look on stream. No, she's like, I ain't got enough screens for all that. Okay. Um, anyway, we'll get into that later then. But yeah, that character's done. Hopefully the ability system is not too crazy, and now that we've getting rid of all the dream seed, fade seed stuff at character creation, hopefully that'll smooth that out a little bit, and people will be. We really, the goal for me is to have a player be able to go from start to finish creating a character by hand in less than 30 minutes. That's the goal. I can do it. Like, I can do it, but I have to get it to where the average player can do it. So even worse. I'm worse. I'm the designer. That's like horrible because I have all these legacy messed up rules like floating around in my head that I have to remember. Like, oh shit, I changed that at some point, right? um, yeah. So this whole bit right here, for at least for the character creation, will go away, and it makes it much simpler. It's much faster. Your stats they start a little bit lower, as you can see, but it's not terrible, and it was much faster, much faster. So hopefully it'll make it easier for you, and especially for new players coming to the table where like they feel like they've gone from trying to play a game to some seventh grade math hell. Right. Right. Well, you ask questions. I'll answer any questions anyone asks me. Um, right. Fair enough. Okay. Well, and with that, like we've been at it now for a little over an hour and a half, so I think we're going to call this one for today, guys. Thanks for joining in. If you stayed on the stream with us, if you're catching us on podcast, thank you for listening. Thank you for your time, and we will see all of you guys later. Be sure and check us out on Fourth Wall, or come hang out with us on Discord. And as always, you can find all the rules for Flagstone in their current form on World Amble. So thanks a lot, guys, and we will see y'all later. And we're off. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. Ah. This is why I shouldn't be doing this. I said I'm not the one. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello. There you go. Now you're not muted. Oh, fuck. Yeah, about an hour and a half or 2 hours is about as much as I can stand of streaming at a shot. I start to run out of things to say, and